Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. How is everyone doing today? Oh boy, it's already been a doozy of a day. Don't know if it'll be a full live stream or a partial live stream, but we will see. Good morning, John. Good morning, Royal Palms. Hey, Mark. Thank you to be with us live. I thank you. I really appreciate you tuning in. Hope you have a wonderful day and happy Friday to you. Patrick, good morning. Good morning, OD Green. Kevin, good morning to you. Kevin's looking forward to the dry season. What do you do, Kevin? I imagine it's outside since you're looking forward to the dry season and you can work 5 days a week. But what do you do? If you don't mind sharing in the chat. Moved to Maryland from Dallas. Now my best friend and his wife are moving to Dallas. Isn't it ironic? Was that a song, Isn't It Ironic? Alanis Morissette? Wow. Was that 94, 95? What year did that out? What year did that album come? Wow. Good morning, Daniel. How are you? Hello, Charles. So, well, Rick, don't you want to go back to Dallas? Do you miss Dallas at all, or do you like Maryland better? I've lived in both places. I lived in Maryland. I lived in Dallas. I used to live in Prosper, Texas, just north of Dallas. Uh, Dallas area, I should say. So, again, good morning to Patrick. Good morning to Rusty over on Rumble. Good morning to other viewers on Rumble who don't type in the chat. All right. So, again, share some stuff. I love to learn about the people who tune in. I love to learn about that. And Daniel, hope everything's going for well you on your contract right now. Good morning, Anissa. How is everything overseas, Anissa? How are you doing? All righty. Again, we already had who was talking this morning? Was it Waller? Who well, I forgot which Fed speak. I took it as fairly dovish, focused on unemployment, on inflation stuff will drop because of unemployment. We shall see. Goolsby coming up speaking consumer sentiment again, still released because it's private, not government run. I'm going to be paying close attention to that at 10 a.m. Musalim speaking, and I don't really care. Again, after if we don't get market stuff going on at 10 a.m. Eastern, it's going to be. I'm not going to do stupid on Friday. Not going to do stupid on a Friday. Good morning, Heinrich. You got the reference, great album. No, back to Dallas. You don't miss Dallas? Ah, Rick. You gonna stay in Maryland forever? Maryland's there's nice. There's some nice parts of Maryland. There's some interesting parts of Maryland. Again, as I said before, love the crab cakes. So that's what we got. Again, I would advise paying attention to 10 a.m. Eastern because there's so little data. People will latch on to things right now. We're still getting the AI again, the AI bounce. It's getting selling pressure though. If you looked at Nvidia yesterday, Broadcom finally pulling through a little bit. So sort of mixed in the mega caps this morning. Groups, just do a quick refresh here. Healthcare, industrial, everything except consumer cyclical and energy. Energy after hitting the first target on the double, closing below the key level we talked about yesterday, which was where whoa, back to key support. Again, if from the bullish side, it's super scalpy, right? Actually, from both the bullish and bearish, it's super scalpy from my perspective. So that's how I got to treat it. Fed watch still cut. Pause in January. Fear and greed. Are we seriously almost in the fear mode? We've only pulled back to the 8 EMA. Where we're back to key support. Why are we in neutral mode on this? Fear from stock price. Yes, the breadth is breaking down. What else? Extreme fear from junk bond demand. You're actually kidding me. That's not. It's interesting to follow this model because why follow it? Because when we get extreme greed and extreme fear, you usually have turning points. But some of the stuff in the middle is just really kooky, like extreme fear from junk bonds. Uh, boy. Schiller PE dirt cheap 40/20. Ooh, what else do we have going on? Oh, by the way, I just put this up. Delta, did you see that? Decent earnings. PE in the eights. Strong reversal. I'm not going to be watching for pullbacks to see if it holds key support. Also, Pepsi. Both for Pepsi, but other than that, no earnings today. Just wanted that as a reminder. One more week of funds here at the Bureau of Reclamation. We're looking forward to vacation and back pay, not politically, but personally, of course. All right. But now you'll work one more week. Well, I hope everything goes great with your extra week of work. Good morning, Jacob. I'm starting to secure a deal with AI in my next year annual review to earn a giant raise. Well, great, Ode Green. I'm very happy for you. Giant raise is always good. All right. Here's exactly, again, pullback, little bounce, pullback. 67.70 is my key support area. I mean, I'll look at about 67.68 to 67.70. We start either breaking down and turn this into resistance at 67.70. My very key level is 67.55. 67.55 is a pretty key level in the sand. 67.70 is the first breakdown below the rotation zone. If we start getting below 67.55, I'm watching that we might have put in at least a short-term top and we could pull back closer to the 50% harmonic, especially next week. Now, cycles are back to the bottom, so we shall see. We're still holding this 8 area. You see any dip into this recently, the rotation zone is still holding. That's why I'm really focused on if we do break below 67.70, 67.68 and turn it into resistance, 67.55 is very key. To the upside, 67.92, 67.93 levels key resistance, unless we can break above that. But again, if we break above that, I'm in really scalpy mode on both sides because, again, 67.97 to 6,800 is another level of key resistance. We either have to get some momentum either way, or especially on a Friday, I'm going to be watching for tighter things. That was attempted a joke. These companies just cite AI in the stock. Well, maybe you could cite AI at your job. Hey, cite it at your job, get the big raise. Hey, look, maybe you could do a circular financing AI deal. AI companies are doing it. They'll just promise everything. I mean, geez, with what was it? With the current, I was reading the analysis. The current promises from data center stuff is like 17. Was it gigawatts or megawatt? I don't know what the wattage was, but we have a 25 capacity, and they're already saying 17 of it with projected data. No, it's not going to happen. Not going to happen. We talked about that the other day too. But just do a circular financing deal. Circular financing. I mean, OpenAI is doing it. They're promising the moon. By the way, if we did rally stronger, 68.05 is very key resistance. We're in a slight upward sloping consolidation pattern. This could be forming a rounded top pattern too. That's why with the waning momentum, we could pull back a little more, but with the waning momentum, I'm really watching. This is running out of steam, and we have not gotten any consecutive days of pullback yet. So I'm in very cautious. NASDAQ, again, 25, 253, 250, 253 area. We start breaking below the 4-hour rotation zone, 25, 190 to 25, 200. The daily rotation zone is back at 25, 150. So that's where I'm saying we got a lot of key support here on still pullbacks. And shorts we've had some pullbacks, but again, nothing's like on Thursday, pulled back to the rotation zone, rotating up. Is this a double top? Why am I not really looking at it? I mean, it's, shoot, I just clicked on the wrong thing. This is technically below the move that started it with the candle bodies. That's why I'm not looking at it. What if we did start breaking down, especially about 25,190, and then followed through below these lows? My targets, I'll give you my exact targets, 25,075, and then the move down to 25,015 to 25,000. Those are my breakdown targets to the downside. But first, it's got to get below 25,191. Good late morning, David. As an end time Christian, Skynet will take over all the data centers. Boy, then why we shouldn't build them, should we? Oh boy. Sorry about the mixed metaphor. We're Skynet. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, we got the Terminator. We're going back. Boy, the Terminator movies, I mean, when did the first one come out? What year in 80? And then I still remember the second one like it was yesterday, but that was what was Terminator 2? Was that like the late 80s? Oh boy. Then we have Alanis Morissette in the mid 90s. Isn't it ironic? Dow still no little bounce here. Back to the 4 hour. We're going to see if this does pull back for a double bottom, but if not, you have major resistance at 46,750, which was a support level yesterday and broke down. Can't do anything from the bullish. Can't do much in these markets right now besides scalp. Because even if we start breaking down below 46,580, we got some pretty strong support below 46,460. There's just not a lot of great setups. This rounded tops I really don't like because they don't lead to a lot of great setups. Are we going to form a head and shoulders in the Dow? We could. We'll be looking for that next week. Russell, little triangle. You know my thoughts on triangles. Triangle pattern. Triangle pattern here. But again, you start breaking down. First level key supports about 2478. Then you have 2473. And then you have 2465. So lots of can't get really short the Russell until below 2465. Long, you have key resistance at 2492, then 2502. Here's the top of the triangle. Again, sorry, not a lot of great stocks. Still hold stock setups, or at least stock indices setups. Still holding the 8 EMA. If we did break down and broke down the triangle and then broke down the initiating point at 2465, we're coming into the daily rotation zone in the 62.5. Terminator, October 26, 1984, Patrick. Now, when's Terminator 2? We'll take a look. Dark screen is already on to gold. Let's just look at the VIX real quick. Still caught in this range. Not much to talk about. The DAX, after making new highs, pulling back to the key support level. If it still breaks down, we got the rising rotation zone. So again, it still favors long trades there. The note futures, 10-year note futures still has a potential double bottom. Waller's comments were very dovish this morning. Yields testing key support right now. I'm still waiting. My only thing is if that double trade triggers on the 10-year. Crude, again, we had that breakdown below the key low yesterday. This key low, it was still barely technically a double. It already played out. We're breaking now down below the prior lows. I updated the harmonics earlier. We're back to 59.77 to 59.65. So any short, this was my key area. Below there, the next is 58.90. All right. We have it stalled on the daily rotation zone, which we're getting a separation in. So if we do break below 59.65, 58.90, but remember, there's a pretty strong floor in here. That's why even on crude to the downside, you got to trade, from my perspective, you got to trade some momentum with tight targets and tight stops. Natty gas, we pulled back to the first target and the 50 and the key support area. I'm going to be looking, again, I was looking for these for pullback targets. Looking for pullbacks in here, but there's no setup yet. We're getting, there might be one next week. Gold, is it pulling back, completing the full double? Had to adjust the targets to account for that, to the full right-hand side targets. So it came right back down to the full target there and bouncing. Is this a 4-hour double bottom? Yeah, it is. Let's see if the targets work, though. Let's see if the targets work. Yes, they do. 4,009.7. What was the close here? 4,010. So technically triggered. We have the gold bounce technically triggered. Targets 40.34, 40.46, 40.58. So technically triggered dark screen. There you go. Double bottom, yes, technically triggered. Judgment Day, July 3rd, 1991. Wow, okay. Huh. 1991. Seems like just yesterday. Silver? Pulling back into the rotation zone, rotating back up. Now, it looks like we don't know yet, but we could have a pausing bar, and I'm putting this up for short-term harmonics. If silver keeps marching higher, it's 51.07, then 51.18, 52.18. Right now, still holding the rotation zone. Right now, let me just check this. Let me check this on a 1-hour basis. Still, yes. So, silver, that still qualifies as a double bottom. That is triggered on a 1-hour basis. First target hit 1, 2, 3 times. Next target would be 48.65, 48.94. So silver also has a triggered and first target hit double bottom. Does that take it to new highs? No. Now what we're going to do is we're going to look, because again, 48.74 on the harmonic closing basis tips the probabilities. So I'd be looking at that on a 4-hour basis if it closes above 48.74 to tip the probabilities to continue to retest this top area. Not necessarily new highs, but that top area. Hey, Sterling. Welcome in. We'll take a look at that. Terminator Trilogy really upped the ante on future dystopian genre. Yes, it did, Rick. So sell at 52 for silver, then the moon? I'm not shorting silver. Not yet. Even if it gets to... No. No. Things are running out, but there's no salt. Again, for silver, pullbacks in the rotation zone continue to get bought. Here's your weekly. Look at your weekly. Could it get a bigger pullback? Yes. There might be aggressive shorts, but if we start breaking down and form a daily topping pattern, could there be shorts into the weekly rotation zone? But is that the major collapse pattern? Because I pretty much will watch for a major secondary bounce in the weekly rotation zone. Copper? Yeah, it's hit this 50% harmonic again. If it continues higher, either watching for a major topping pattern in here, or the next target is 534 area. Still in bullish mode with copper. Platinum also, again, I'm not looking at I'm not shorting metals right now, but coming back down double. These are pullback areas, finishing off the double. Now, for platinum, a little minor. That is by the way, that was a minor valid double bottom that's already played out. But on the bigger retracement for platinum now, platinum has to close back above 1683.8 to retest the high area. If it does break above it, we have a major cluster at around 1750, 1752 still. Dollar index, watching now for a pullback. Look at this momentum now. Again, now key support, 9820 area with the rising rotation zone. Now we are overbought with cycles at the top, so I'm going to be watching for a pullback. And we could still, sound like a broken record, but we could still trigger. Watch for this pullback. Also, looks like we're going to close above the weekly rotation zone. Unless we have a major collapse today, this could be the first close above the rotation zone since we broke down in March. We had the double top, and then we broke the rotation zone significantly. So this waning momentum, boy, this will really get a lot of people. Why did I switch there? There we go. Get a lot of panties in a bunch right there. Euro closing below 62.5 yesterday. Separation of the rotation zone. So any bounce plays, I'll be watching for rollover plays in the euro. Things are definitely shifting. By the way, 10-year yields in the yen keep on climbing. Trying to stall out a little here, but keep on climbing. It's going to get interesting. Now, I'm going to watch for a slight pullback also in the yen. Overbought, cycles at the top. Getting a little exhausted here, but back into key support in the yen. Going to be watching for a pullback here. Yen's going to get interesting in the next few months. Spiders. Spideys. Again, slight little gap up. Gap fill would be 671.16. Major support is 669.25 area. All right. That's we still don't have another decent pot. The last pausing bar is right here. So I just want to see where those short-term harmonics take us. Then we'll look at some other stuff, and then I'm calling it a day. So again, if we do rally and take out the high, 675 roughly to 675.38 is next harmonic area. The Qs, very, very key support of 607.50. Key close there, already tested yesterday. Again, gap up, so any rollover play would be to 610.70 for the gap fill. Other than that, 612.77 to 613.70 is we got the harmonic cluster. Not a lot of great stuff. Yeah, the dollar's rise and the yen weakening again might get the really is. I think again, a lot of people are focused on the debasement trade. I'm focused not on that. I'm focused on we just have another mania going on with we've been rotating from mania to mania, and gold's become and silver's become just another short-term momentum play. It had the key foundations back when, yes, you got central banks buying, but this, I think China's buying because once they go to war with Taiwan and they can't trade in their own currency really anymore, they're going to use gold. They're going to use gold, but we shall see about that. What else? Daniel was joking about the silver. I'm glad you were joking. You're just going to get interesting comments. They're starting to reach the level of tobacco chew spits on outlawed Jersey whales. Well, I'll spit again because it's going to get interesting. Mark my spitting words. Mark my spitting words. How are you doing today, Sterling? Are you busy at work? U.S. Oh, boy. Again, would not short this thing. It's just going to keep going till it doesn't. Just going to keep going until it doesn't. Just saying there's a reason there's no PE in it. Could it make money at some point? Yeah. This is just another thing. Again, if you're trading it, fine, trade the momentum to the upside, but be prepared for at some point for a pretty significant reversal. Because this will go vertical up and vertical down. What else? Tesla still holding the rotation zone. Only going to be watching if Tesla breaks below 420 for any shorts. Other than that, it'd just be a rotation setup. We don't have a great setup yet on Tesla to the long side. Oh boy. Nvidia breaking to new highs. Gapping up today. Again, we're starting to get back to exhaustion, but there are no shorts. Weekly, could it run more? Weekly cycles getting to the top area. We're going to have another divergence in here. Again, would not be shorting Nvidia without a key topping sign yet. Could we pull back in the rotation zone? Sure. But unless we really start breaking below, especially the 50, I'm not interested. All right. That's it. Again, 10 a.m. I'm not doing stupid today. I'll keep watching stuff through 10 a.m. 10:30. Give it a little, if we do get some reaction off of that. Other than that, I'm washing my hands, calling it a day on Friday. Reconvene next week. Remember, earnings, I think bank earnings are next Tuesday. Monday, oh, I forgot. Monday, Columbus Day. Renamed Columbus Day. So, we don't have stocks. We'll see. I don't know if there'll be a live stream on Monday. We'll see what futures do. Maybe there'll be a quick one for futures. If I'm not going to do one, I'll post something on X. Or if you don't see one pop up, like ahead of time, I'll do it. We'll probably have lighter viewership. It might go lightly, but based off the market still keep churning, we might do a quick live stream on Monday. So that's where we sit. Nothing's changed with the levels in the S&P going in the open. Where it looks like we're going to test the 67.93 area. Again, I got to either turn that into support. Well, I don't have to turn it into support because we even have a breakdown zone 67.93 to 67.94. So that's got to either be turned into support for the move back up, or I'll be watching for potential topping patterns against this level. That's where we sit. I'll talk to everyone next week. Bye for now.